3.1 to 3.3, adding and subtracting integers formative assessment. These are going to be your quiz corrections. Number 1, show the absolute value of the number shown below. So the absolute value of negative 42, well, if you have the absolute value of negative 42, that's asking for how many jumps does it take to get from the number 42 to 0. Well, that's going to be 42 jumps. So the answer is going to be a positive 42. All right, number 2, solve the absolute value of the problem shown below. So if you have the absolute value of negative 6 minus 5, well, I'm first going to start by changing this to an addition problem. So I'm going to change the minus sign into an additive inverse. So that means I'm going to add and make this into a negative 5. Then I'm going to go back to the absolute value. So the absolute value of negative 6 is 6 plus negative 5. Well, 6 is positive, 5 is negative. So that becomes 6. So that means I'm going to subtract those two. So 6 minus 5 gives me 1. 6 is a larger number, so my answer is a positive 1, because my number 6 was a positive number. Number 3, solve the following problem. You can use the number line below if you would like. So negative 18 plus 7. Well, negative 18 plus 7. Well, if I start at negative 18 and I add 7, that means I'm going to go to the right 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, if I go and label my number line, now I'm going to label every other one just so then that way it doesn't look as congested. All right, so it's the number that's between negative 12 and negative 10, which means that it's going to be negative 11. So my answer is going to be negative 11. You don't need to use the number line on this one, but that's how I would show my work. So again, the answer for number 3 is negative 11. Moving on to number 4, 13 plus negative 13. Okay, well, the number 13 is going to be to the right on the number line. Then 2 to the left is 11, 9, 7, 5, 3, 1, and I will put 0 like that. All right, so if we start at the number 13, because the problem says 13 plus negative 13, so I'm going to start at the number 13, and then I'm going to add a negative 13. So I go to the left, 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That means that my answer is going to equal 0. Another way to look at it is if you have 13 ice cream cones and you add eating 13 ice cream cones, then you have no ice cream cones left. Number 5, negative 8 plus negative 15. Negative 8 plus negative 15. Well, they're both negative numbers, so therefore I know that my number is going to be a larger negative. So I'm going to start with negative 8, and then I'm going to label to the left. As you recall, with negative numbers, they get smaller going to the left. So negative 10, negative 12, negative 14, negative 16, negative 18, negative 20, negative 22, negative 24. So if I start at negative 8 and I go to the left 15, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's going to put me at this point right here, which is going to be a negative 23. Another way to think about it is if you do 15 plus 8, that equals 23. If they're both negatives, that means that your answer is going to be negative. Number 6, solve the following problem, 14 plus negative 8. 14 plus negative 8. Well, I'm going to start with 14 on the right, and I'm going to label to the right and to the left. All right, so if I start at 14 and I'm adding a negative 8, that means I'm going to the left 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is at 6. So my answer is going to be 6. Another way to look at this is you have a positive 14 and a negative 8. So that means that we need to subtract these two. 14 minus 8 gives me 6. Then identify the larger number, which is 14, and figure out is 14 positive or negative. It's positive, so therefore the answer is positive. Number 6. Negative 16 minus 7. Well, I'm going to change this into an addition problem by doing the additive inverse. So I'm going to add and make that into a negative 7. So this is negative 16 plus negative 7. If you notice, they both are negative, so that means I'm going to make a larger negative. In order to get a larger negative, I need to add 16 and 7. Well, 16 plus 7 gives me 23. Because they were both negative, that means our answer is going to be negative. But just to show the work, if I have negative 16, negative left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to label my number line, and I can see that it's between 22 and 24, and that makes it negative 23. All right, number 8, we're going to solve 11 minus 21. So 11 minus 21. All right, there's subtraction, so I'm going to do the additive inverse. So add, make it a negative 21. 11 plus negative 21. Okay, well, the signs are different, so that means we're going to subtract our numbers. 21 minus 11, that gives me 10. Then I know that 21 was the larger number, and it's a negative, so therefore my answer is going to be negative 10. But just to show that, if I start at 11, I go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I'll have to add one more point there. Okay, after labeling, then I wind up with negative 10. Number 9, 5 minus negative 5. So 5 minus negative 5. So I'm going to change this into an addition problem by doing the additive inverse. So I'm going to add and make the inverse of a negative 5 a positive 5. So this becomes 5 plus 5. Oh, well, they're both the same. This is like a traditional problem that we've learned many years ago. 5 plus 5 is 10. So if we start at 5 and we add 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we wind up here at 10. All right, number 10. Solve the following problems of negative 13 minus negative 9. Negative 13 minus negative 9. All right, subtractions. I'm going to do my additive inverse to make it addition. So I'm going to add, and the inverse of a negative 9 is a positive 9. So negative 13 plus 9. Well, the signs are different, so that means we're going to subtract. 13 minus 9 gives me 4. And then 13 is the larger number. 13 is a negative, so the answer is a negative 4. But again, if we start with negative 13, and we go to the right 9, because we're adding a positive, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That gives me the answer of a -4. Number 11. Please complete the following steps. Letter A, use the number line. Letter B, write an addition or subtraction expression to describe each situation. And C, find and label the answer. So we have a soccer team that gains 30 yards and then loses 7 yards. Okay, so they gain 30 yards. So that means that we are at, we'll put the number 30 right here. They gain 30 yards and then they lose 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That means they're going to the left. So that means it's going to be 23 yards. But let's do letter B. So this was letter A. Then for letter B, it wants an addition or subtraction expression. So that means they gain 30 yards, that's positive 30, and they lose 7 yards. So 30 minus 7. Or you could have had it as 30 plus -7. You did the additive inverse. So either of those are appropriate ways of answering letter B. Then letter C says find and label the answer. So if you did 30 minus 7, that gives you 23. And 30 plus -7 gives you 23. The label means that we need to add in the word yards. So a soccer team gains 30 yards, then lose 7 yards. They have a total of 23 yards. Number 12. We're going to follow the same directions of A, using the number line, B, writing an addition or subtraction expression to describe the situation, and C, finding and labeling the answer. So we have a hot air balloon rises 270 feet into the air. Then it descends 130 feet. All right, so the hot air balloon rises 270 feet. So I'm going to make this 270 feet. Then it descends 130 feet. So I'm going to actually make each of my markings 10, just so in that way I can make sure that I have enough space. So when I go to the left 2, that's 250. Left 2 is 230, 210, 190, 170, 150, 130, 110, 90, and 70. All right, so I'm going to go back 130 feet. So this is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 130. So that is 140 feet. So here's letter A. For letter B, we're going to make the addition or subtraction expression. So 270 minus 130. And I know it's subtracting 130 because descending means we're going down. You could have written it also as 270 plus -130. Both are appropriate ways of answering that. Letter C is to find and label the answer. Well, 270 minus 130 gives me 140 feet. Or 270 plus -130 still gives me 140 feet. Number 13. Same directions. We're going to use the number line for the first step. Second step, we're going to write an addition or subtraction expression to describe each situation. And the last step is to find and label the answer. Your checking account is overdrawn by $50. You withdraw $20. Well, if your checking account is overdrawn, that means that you actually owe money. So if we're at 0, and we go back 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, I'm going to go by tens. So my apologies. Let me go back in here and label. Okay, so if we start with $0 and then we are overdrawn by 50, that means we're going back 5. So that's indicating that we've overdrawn $50. Now we're going to withdraw $20. So we're going to take 20 more dollars out of our account. So that means I'm going to go back to the left 2 more because each of them represent 10. So negative 70. So here's letter A. Letter B, using the addition or subtraction expression, negative 50 minus 20, or negative 50 plus negative 20. Again, both of them are appropriate ways of answering that. For letter C, we're going to go ahead and find and label the answer. So negative 50 minus 20 is negative 70. Negative 50 plus negative 20 is negative 70. So to label the answer, you have negative $70 in your account.